let me tell you guys, it just like it was so wow. Hey, welcome back to my space here on YouTube. My name is Wendy, and today we're talking about period cups. And I'm pretty excited for this conversation because I'm just going to be saying a lot of the things that I wish I knew, and also debunking some of the myths, and also advocating for the use of period cups because, oh Lord, I love my cups so much. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It literally costs you 2 seconds of your life and 0 shillings, so please do. And what else? Yeah, I think that's all. So I mean, let's get into the meat of this video. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you researched about period cups. You found 2 extremes on the internet. There's either the, oh my god, I'll never use a period cup again, scary, scary, scary. Or there's the, oh my god, my life has changed. I can't believe I've never used it sooner, stream, what. Yeah, so there's those 2 extremes. I mean, I feel like the first extreme is from people who just use it once and then they just give up. You know, like, I mean, even with pads and tampons, the first time you used it, you weren't perfect. Like, you probably had some leakage or some spillage or something somewhere, right? So sometimes, yes, it can be scary. And I mean, there's a learning curve, which I'll get into later. But I don't think that's the most accurate experience of cups because, I mean, if you use a cup and you use it well and you're used to it, there's a whole different side. That's where these people for, oh my god, life changing comes in. And I'm one of those people, and I know it can seem exaggerated because of how much me and those people always like, oh my god, I wish I knew it sooner and stuff like that. But that's literally closer to the truth. Once you use a cup and you use it properly and you're used to it, I mean, like, there's literally no turning back. Like, it's literally one of the best investments you will ever make for your period and for yourself. So yeah, so there's those 2 extremes, but the life-changing one is closer to the truth than the scary one, because I don't know, I think people usually expect I use a cup and then all of a sudden I'm an expert, and it's not like that, because this is something new. It's not like a pad. You know, a pad, you just put it on your panty and then you're just, right? And a tampon is just pretty straightforward. A cup isn't as straightforward as those 2, but once you know how to use it, like, literally, that's all I have to say. Another thing, I'm using my phone because I just put them down so that I don't forget. You have to be comfortable with your body. Like, you really have to be comfortable with your body and with blood and with your period, because if you aren't, then I don't think a period cup is something for you, because you're going to interact with your blood, and you're going to interact with your body a lot more than you do when you're wearing a pad or a tampon. Like, I mean, with pads and tampons, we're just used to putting on something and forgetting about it, but then with a cup it's a bit more interactive. So if you're not comfortable with blood or your body, then I just would say not to use it until you are there, right? Because you might also have a bad experience and think that all cup experiences are bad, but that's just the main issue here. So you have to be comfortable with your body and comfortable with blood, comfortable with your period. If not, then I mean, I wouldn't recommend for you to use one until you get there. Yeah, that's number 2. Number 3, yes, you need a private bathroom and access to clean water. And a private bathroom doesn't, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like yours only. Like, in our house, the only ensuite bathroom is my dad's. Yeah, so that's the only ensuite bathroom. But anyway, the other bathrooms are basically just for me and I, because we barely have guests over and stuff like that. So I feel like it feels more private. Because I know if I'm going to someone's house, I wouldn't go and use the guest bathroom that everyone uses to change my cup, just because I won't feel comfortable. So I feel like you need a more private bathroom, not everyone goes here type of bathroom situation. You get what I mean? That's just for me though. I feel like some people wouldn't mind and would be absolutely comfortable using the everyone's guest bathroom. If that's you, like, good for you, girl. I'm just not there yet. Also, you need access to clean water. If you know or think access to clean water is not something that you're privileged enough to have, or just something that you can't access, maybe because of where you live, Aki, the way some places in this country just don't have water. um yeah yeah, so if you don't have access to clean water, especially clean flowing water, then I would just recommend not to use a cup, because you need to clean it, you need to rinse it. Once you've removed it, you need to rinse it so that it's clean, and then you can put it back in again. So you need clean water, and because if it's dirty, you'll get infections, bro. You can't put something dirty back inside there, you have to clean it. Yeah, so you need access to clean water. If you, let's say you're somewhere, I don't know, maybe you're somewhere outside camping or some shit, or maybe, I don't know, you're just somewhere and you didn't have, you're out and about, and the place doesn't necessarily have clean water, you can use water, like bottled water, and clean with the bottled water. Another one, damn. Yes, with period cups there's two options. You can get a latex one and you can get a silicone one. So if you're allergic to latex, I would highly recommend to get a silicone one. I have a silicone one. I'm not allergic to latex, but I just think that silicone cups are more accessible, and then they're also, it's easier to manage, because sometimes people don't know they have latex allergies, and then you don't want to find out that way. Honestly, I think that's the worst way to find out you have a latex allergy. Yeah, and silicone allergies are very, very rare, so I think it would be best to get a silicone one. Or if you have a silicone allergy, then maybe you can explore the option of getting a latex one, if that's safe for you as well. The next one is, there's a learning curve. I feel like many times where period cups kind of seem like it's gonna be such a seamless experience and people are just gonna and move, but there is a learning curve. I mean, the first few times I put it, I was so confused. Even until now, sometimes I put it and it's just like, huh? Especially if I haven't used it in a minute, maybe because I don't like using it when I have my nails done or when I have long nails, because I'm usually just so scared of scratching myself. So there's a learning curve. Like, you can, the C cup, the one that's mostly endorsed or advertised, the C cup stroke U, I mean C fold stroke U fold, might not work for you. Maybe for you what works is that number 7 fold, or the triangle fold, or the CG what fold. There's a couple of ways you can wear it, and they in like, hey, you'll just learn. I mean, it's not something that you come knowing. It's something that you learn, and there's a learning curve. Like, you'll have to go through that learning curve, and then once you're on the other side of the learning curve, like, I mean, your experience is gonna be so good, so seamless, and so smooth, because you know how to use one, you know how to put it in for yourself, because our bodies are different. Like, for me, a C cup works perfectly, but for my sister, I don't think she uses a C cup. I mean, the C fold, I don't know, I keep saying cup. Yeah, so for me the C fold works perfectly, but I think for my sister, I think she uses the 7 fold. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm saying, Google is your bestie, and you'll find that information there. You can find just search different ways to fold a cup, a period cup, and you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So there's a learning curve, and also girl, relax as you're using your cup. Please just relax, because when you're tense, like your creature's gonna close up because she's scared. So you need to open up and relax, so that when you relax you'll be so shocked, just like also in that same learning curve, I think people usually assume that because you're in your period, like you're super lubricated. That's not the case for everyone. Sometimes even the hormonal changes in your body that are happening during that time mean that you're a bit drier. So it's very different for different people. So if you feel like you're not well lubricated, or it's not getting in as easy as it should, like there's some friction or some tension and you're relaxed, then I would recommend trying putting it on with lube, like with water-based lube. There's a day I usually am able to put it in very easily, even on like my last few days when my period is not so heavy. But there was a day in my last period, and dude, I don't know why it was just like so hard to get in, and I was relaxed and everything, but it was so hard. So my sister is the one who actually told me, like, you can try and use lube. So I got some lube here, I tried, and let me tell you guys, it just like it was so wow, it went in so easily. But then one thing that when you're using lube, it can be really slippery, so just be careful because it can be really slippery and you don't want it to fall, yeah. And also in that same learning curve, well, I'm going to say everything that I learned. There's different ways that work for you. Sometimes when I sit in the toilet and I just put it in, it works. Sometimes I have to stand and put one leg up, like I'm standing, these are my legs, then one leg is up like this. Can you see? Yeah. So sometimes I have to do that to put it in, especially in the shower. Me, I can't put it in the shower like when I'm just standing in. I just know I have to put like one leg up. So we usually have a stool in the bathroom, so I put my leg up on the stool and then I put it in. Yeah. What else? Learning curve. I think that's all I would say about the learning curve. Oh, also you have to know which cup works for you. I'm fortunate enough to have only tried one and work for me, but our bodies are different, our needs are different. If you're more active, you might want to go for a softer cup. Like there are those that when you press it's a bit hard to press, and there's the ones that just press so easily, so you'd want to go for probably a softer cup. Also another thing that is highly dependent is your flow. So if you have a heavier flow, maybe you want to get a cup that holds more. And then also like the length of your cervix matters, because some people have shorter cervixes, some people have long, and sometimes it also just changes throughout your period. Like maybe today it's like maybe this long, and then tomorrow it's like this long, so it changes. And that's another thing you need to consider as you're finding which cup works for you. At least you don't need to actually try each and every cup to know which one works for you. I think there's a quiz which I'll link at the bottom of this video. I'm gonna link not at the bottom, in the description box. I'm gonna link that quiz for finding out which cup works best for you, or which one will work for you, so you can be able to do that. And then when you're going to buy, you'll have a more informed decision and you'll know what you're doing. I think that's all for the learning curve. Oh yeah, another big concern that many people have is spillage. Like, will it spill when you're removing it or stuff like that? Okay, thank God period blood is super thick. It's like super thick. It's not like water. It's not as viscous as water. It's not as viscous as water. It's a lot thicker and heavier, so the viscosity is very different. So which means even when you're pulling out, like, I think I should have my cup here. Okay, I have my cup. So I was saying, here's your cup, right? When you pinch it to break the seal and then remove it, because it's not it's not as viscous as water, it's not so flowy and runny, it won't spill out. It will still hold. If it was water, I think it would have spilled out, literally. Like, it would have just... yeah, that's another thing I would say you need to know. Your cervix moves during your period, guys. It moves. It moves. So don't be scared when today you put in your cup. Because, hey, I remember I was so concerned. Today I put in my cup, and normally, this tip is usually like covered by my labia minora, like quite covered, like I can't be able to really like feel it. I have to like actually open my inner lips to feel it, right? But there are times that it will be just there. It's just like literally there where your lips are ending, not covered. So your cervix moves. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. So don't be alarmed. As long as you can feel like it's sealed properly and there's no leakage, you're good to go. I would also recommend, like, on your first few tries, maybe you can have like a panty liner or a pad on your panty as well, just so that you can feel confident and be sure, and so that even that will also help planning, because nobody can tell you how it feels when it's sealed completely. Like, yeah, there's the tips, like knowing like when you pull it shouldn't come out and things like that, but I feel like also just for you to feel more safe and confident that there'll be no leakage and everything until you've gotten the hang of it, then you realize, yeah, there's usually no leakage, so you don't need to wear something else. It's just for the first few days, maybe when you're trying to get used to it and you're trying to figure out, okay, how does it feel, how will I know that it's held completely? So you'll be able to track, you know, like, oh, today I put it in like this and this is how it felt, and there was no leakage. But today I put it in like this and this is how it felt and there was leakage. Another thing I usually like to check is if like, I usually check this rim. So like when I put it in, I check this rim that it's completely circular, because if it's kind of folded like this, I know maybe it's not sealed completely, so I need it to be completely circular so that I know that it's sealed completely. Yeah, another one thing that I completely love about period cups, oh, like, this is a soft one, by the way. I'm not talking about soft versus hard. You see that it just presses easily. There are those that press like this, like it's a bit tough to press, but then there's these ones. So another thing I was saying that I really love about it is that it's so flexible. That's why you've had many people saying at oh, once you use a period cup, you don't know there's anything there, it feels like there's nothing, blah blah blah. You know how tampons are not flexible? It will get in, you bleed, it swells, and then it remains like that because it's like a cylindrical object. It's not gonna fold and move like this, you know. So this one moves with your body. It moves with your body. Like, if you bend like this, you won't feel like there's something just restricting that. Even when it swells up and it's full of blood, you won't feel like there's something now, you know, like the way you can feel your tampon and you can feel your pad. This, you don't feel it because it's flexible, it moves with your body. So as you move or whatever you're doing, like, you can actually really move with it. It's easy to work out with, and even as your uterus contracts and stuff, like, it's actually super flexible and super soft, so it doesn't need, like, you literally don't feel like there's anything up there. Another concern, if you have an IUD, can you use a period cup? I mean, you can, people say you can, but I would advise that you go to your gyna so they can best advise you, because there's also the risk of dislodging your IUD and stuff like that. So please just go to a gyna if you're planning on using a cup and you're not sure of like all those things. Another thing I completely love about period cups is that they don't mess with your natural state of your vagina. Like, you know how sometimes tampons are drying? Like, I didn't know that until I used a cup, actually, because tampons actually are very drying. So they don't mess with your pH, they don't mess with, I don't know who's calling me from Comoros, like, you know, that's super weird. Anyway, they don't mess with your pH, they don't mess with your moisture levels, they just basically they don't mess with the natural state of your vagina, which is actually so good and so helpful. Because now at least I don't experience the drying. In fact, every time I'm just so grateful. That's all I can say. I think that maybe is possibly a concern, or maybe someone has the question about, is are period cups period sex friendly? Me personally, I'm not a person for period sex because it just doesn't do it for me. But if you are, I would say that really depends. It could, because for some people, I've had some people who've used it with, who've had period sex with a cup on, but I think it's highly dependent on a lot of factors. Maybe even one of them could be the position of your cup, because some people, they can just pass here. Also the size of your partner, and also the length of your cervix, because that could also be something that's a determining factor. What I will say for sure though is that they are oral friendly. So I mean, you can have oral when you have a cup on. And what I would advise though is, if you're a person for period sex and you want to make the switch from pads and tampons, I would recommend you use a period disc, because like this is your period cup sits like, they sit very differently. Your period cup sits like upper qua cervix and stuff. It's like seated upper qua cervix. So that's why I'm saying, like, depending, it can nanny, but I wouldn't recommend. But a disc sits like this. It's like, now there's this, so it sits kind of like this, like this. So like there's space for that. So if you're a person for period sex, I'd recommend you just get a disc. But period cups are very oral friendly. And yeah, I think that's all that I have about period cups and the usage. I've been using mine for about a year now. And initially I didn't get into it because of all these benefits and all these things that I've mentioned. I've also mentioned things that are not exactly the things that you should know, not just benefits. But yeah, so I didn't get into it knowing that I would have significantly less cramps, because honestly I had significantly less cramps. Sometimes I don't even have cramps. Sometimes I don't even know I'm on my period, ever since I started using a cup. Yeah, but another thing that so the reason I got into cups is because of sustainability and eco-friendliness, and the environment and everything. There's someone who said that we didn't inherit the planet from our ancestors, we're borrowing it from the next generation, or those who are to come. So like, I mean, it's just important, especially for me, to live in the most sustainable way and live this earth in the best condition that I can live it in. So I mean, if you just think about it, like a cup can serve you from 5 to 10 years. That's 5 to 10 years of every period, right? And then just think about how many pads you use in one cycle. 1 month, how many pads do you use? And pads are full of plastics, which means they're not even biodegradable, which means they just end up in landfills, and it's just sad. And this will serve you for 5 to 10 years, literally. Just that's what made me make the switch. And that's it's actually one of the best decisions I've made in my life, because wow, the experience was a lot better than I ever imagined or expected after you get used to it and know how to use it. Before, it's so confusing. The other day, I was at Nicole's place, and what happened? I was at Nicole's place, and so I was changing my cup, and let me tell you, I panicked because it was not working. I think that was my second or third time using a cup. And it was just not getting in, and I really panicked. I remember even I was calling Nicole, because I was like, what is this? Because Nicole has been using a cup for longer than I have, so I mean, I figured she'd be able to direct me or help me at least calm down. Yeah, anyway, Katon is the one who came to my rescue, but by the time they came, it worked. It got in very easily. So there's the learning curve and everything, but once you know how to use it and you learn how to use it, I think you'll be very happy with the purchase and the investment that you made. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you have any questions that you probably may need to be clarified, you can ask them in the comments below. Yeah, if you have your experience, please let me know also your experience with period cups. Like if you're one of those who are like never again, or I just can't, or if you're those like me who are like, oh my god, everyone should use a period cup, like literally everyone should be having a cup in their lives. Yeah, actually, even about the sustainability, I'm really considering getting period panties and reusable pads for the days that I have nails, because I'm not gonna say I'll never put nails. I like having cute long nails when I want to. Sometimes I just don't want to, and for those times I just want to still be able to practice and maintain sustainability and do my part, because your plastic waste is such a disgusting reality and I hate it. Yeah, if you've reached this far, please subscribe to my video. If you haven't subscribed, I don't even know what you're doing, because you've reached this far. So please subscribe. It will literally cost you nothing, and just like a literal one tap, you can even subscribe as you're listening to me, so it's not gonna take you even extra time. And also like this video if you enjoyed it. Please also share it with people who you think might need to know about cups and cup usage and stuff like that. And I'll see you next time. Yeah, I don't know, I think they have a week next week. I think I'll do a blog post instead, so I'll see you then. Bye.